Hello, my name is Dwight Norris, and today I wanted to talk about something a little different. As you've seen, I've been making a lot of Charles River fishing videos, specifically because this website is about fishing at work, and I wanted to show you that I myself am going out and fishing almost on a daily basis. Sometimes I do videos, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm making videos about something else, and I have to use that period of time I have when I'm off work to make those videos, and I have to do other things as well with my time that I have to do for this website and other things. Sometimes you have to go to pick something up for your family, go to CVS, get some gift cards, get some, actually it was some birthdays and, other things. But I wanted to talk a little bit about fishing the Charles itself. I've learned some things from fishing from shore in my general area and where I live. I also live pretty close to the Charles River, but not like where I am in Boston. That's a little further toward the ocean. And after fishing both parts and going to other areas using the different places where you can rent a canoe or a small boat and go out and explore, I've learned that you need to know a little more about the area and what's under the water and the fish itself. I usually go out and I don't really focus on a fish. Most of the time I'm going for bass, but when I'm with my family or my son, I'm putting those worms on there and I'm making sure that he's having as much fun as possible. He's going to catch a fish, and if he doesn't, I'll be shocked. But recently, hey, he used a lure and caught more fish than me, which was also shocking. So, making progress. And part of this whole thing is I've realized that, hey, I don't know everything. And nobody really can attest to knowing everything about something unless they've reached, I don't know, pro or guru status. All the professionals for bass, they obviously have done their research. They know how to go out on the lake or river or wherever and do all their research and figure out exactly where the bass should be for the season, for the temperature, for the pH, etc., etc. But for my current location, I actually haven't fished it for a complete year. Now that it's fall, the fall turnover, which usually happens in lakes, is happening on a river. Now I haven't fished for bass exclusively during a fall season, so I'm wondering where the fish are, but I already know. I know they're on those deep water humps. I know they're pulling in to larger drop-offs, specifically ones that have structure on them, fallen trees, stumps, uh, possibly there's also branch pylons. Those work in the summer, and they work when it's cooling off as well. It's a lot of structure, there's a lot of forage there, and that works. And one person who knows more about this than I think anybody else in the area, and he has a business, is Greg Miner from the Charles River Outdoor Company. He has many videos that I've been reviewing and I've seen in the past, but two specifically, one with Dan Kennedy and another with another company, I can't really remember what person that was they went with. He went through a lot of details. I learned a lot about where I'm fishing here out out west, and also where I do my daily Charles River fishing right there in the urban city of Boston. And there's some things that I was doing right and I was getting results. And there are other things I didn't even think about doing, but I knew that I should, but I don't have the access he does. He has a boat. He has more time. We don't have time. We're fishing at work. We need to be very uh, we need to go to the place and use the thing that will catch us the bass fast and quick so we can go back and do our jobs and be happy that we caught a fish or try it really hard or try something new or know something more about the area so that we can catch more bass later. And some of the things I learned, if you're in the Boston area, that's cool, that you should probably try out. First, I'll talk about the lures that are really prominent for largemouth bass in the area. One are soft plastics, i.e. worms. You can use on baits, you can use what he talked about, the big bite baits. I think he's a sponsor for them. There's a whole bunch. They're awesome. There's plenty of types. They have the ribbon tail, you have the stick baits, you have the trick worms. They all work. But it seems that pretty much any rig worked as well. Texas rig, weightless, wacky rig. The wacky rig seemed to work very well during the summer months on the video there. It was 5 years ago, but the fish haven't changed. I'm like, I've been avoiding the wacky rig. Why? Because it's wacky. Why? I don't know. It's for some people, it's not for others. But for Boston, it seems to work. And there's also the spinnerbait, which I know is awesome. It covers a lot of water. It mimics a local forage. There's a lot of forage here, a lot of different types of forage, and they come in during different times of the season. But two predominant colors work. One is chartreuse, and the other is like a pure white with sparkles or something. Now, there are two different scenarios that you want to use them in. One, when it's extremely bright, there's no clouds, there's blue sky, and it's just super sunny, you want to go toward that white spinnerbait. Now, if it's a little darker, there's cloud cover, or stormy, you want to go to that green chartreuse. You can have sparkles, you can have uh, other notes of different colors in there, but basically a chartreuse or a chartreuse white is going to work very well during those dark times. And another great color for dark times is a crankbait with the exact same colors. Also, if it's bright, you would probably want to switch to a slightly whiter or shinier kind of chrome crankbait, and maybe even one that mimics a crawdad. Yes, sometimes a minnow type lure can be colored like a crayfish, crawdad, what do you want to call it, and if you use the technique uh, correctly, have it bounce down the ledge, like if there's a sharp ledge, it's colder, or even if it's summer, you can have it hit the edge of the shore, and a decent sized lip, maybe that one that goes about 6 feet, and have it just kind of bounce down the ledge where the lip is hitting the dirt and is kicking up dust. And the way that the painting goes is that the back is the tails, and it's like a retreating crayfish that's from the shallows, and it sees something it's scared of, and it's trying to run away. And then the dirt and the sound and the clicking sounds, which is what a crayfish sounds like underwater, will alert all the bass in the area. Whoa, there's a crayfish trying to get away. Let's look into this. And they hear the sound get louder. They see the dust plumes going up in the area, and then they hear that rattle of your crankbait, and it's going deeper and deeper, and they want to get after it before it gets away. And that's when you get the bite, like somewhere along the travel. So that's pretty cool too. You can also use jigs as well. I didn't see him use too many jigs, but the jigs he used were his regular jigs with a brown with the red tips on the claws, and those work well as those can work well. I believe they're more predominant in the Mystic River area, the actual crayfish, but it could be everywhere. They are in the river, so definitely try those as well. But it seems the majority of Greg Miner's arsenal is with soft plastic worms, spinnerbaits, and crankbaits. And with that, he can cover all of his bases. He can go deep, he can go shallow, he can get in the overhanging trees, he can get down in the bridge pilings, he can use the crankbait to mimic the forage along the bridge pilings as well, or in open water. He can hit the deep water humps with those. He can maybe even use a Carolina rig with the old egg sinker and the floating worm that floats just above the surface along the deep water hump as well. And you can also use a spinnerbait to cover vast amounts of space. And I believe you'll see in my How to Catch More Bass PDF that the use of a crankbait is more than just a tool to mimic a fish. It can also teach you a lot about what's down there. That's how he actually ran across the bridge pounds that are next to the columns on many of the bridges that cross the Charles River. And with that is lots and lots of structure that a lot of people don't realize is there. And obviously, with the tide going in and the tide going out, the fish, not just the fish, the forage is actually attracted to that break in the current, whichever side it's on, and that also attracts the big bass, the big perch, the big panfish, and maybe even the big striped bass, or maybe a random carp or a bull catfish. I think there's bull catfish in this area. I think there's some other type as well. I can't remember. I don't really go catfishing around here. Um, hmm. So as for the structure, I think I've named a few already. The bridge pilings, the bridge walls. Basically, when you have you can use soft plastic, but really a crankbait worked just like right along the edge. If you can actually come parallel with it and just cast along there and you can get that puppy nice and deep, it might be somewhere between 7 feet, or if you go closer to the Museum of Science, you can get down to like 15 or so. And this work, actually, it goes down to 20. You can just rip that baby right along the wall, get it nice and deep. You can hit some underwater structure, some pilings, some humps, some holes, and fish are just hiding out in there. And they really like corners for some reason. Corners are great. They just like to hide in the corner. I'm not sure why. I haven't really discovered that reasoning, but it seems to be like if we have the shoreline, and then you have the bridge meeting the land, that corner is going to be congregating fish. If you can just come in from the boat side, cast ashore, and pull it in, you're likely to get a bite. I've tried to go from the shore out, and I have gotten some bites, but it seems easier when you're going the natural way from shallow to deep rather than to deep to shallow. Um, there are also other structures. There's the lily pads. I've worked those progressively. The weeds have just gotten overgrown and they're sucking up all the oxygen and the fish were out. And right when they started to recede and the fish should be coming back, then comes the cool weather, then comes the fall, and everything changes again. So, those are the things that you should think about when you're fishing in Charles. If you're, blessed enough to have a boat of any regard, inflatable, kayak, canoe, a bass boat, john boat, awesome. Get out there and try all these things out. Um, you obviously won't be able to do too much of it, if any, when you're fishing at work in this particular area, but on the weekends, give it a whirl. Learn about how the fish are moving throughout the season, throughout the different environments, throughout the light and dark, throughout the changes in the season. I think I mentioned that already. But all the different environmental and temperature and pH and water clarity changes that you see on a daily basis. Because if you go every day to the river, every day will be different and you will have to adapt and change. And that's what I'll be doing. I need to learn, I'm doing my research, and I'll find out how to catch more bass in my local area, and you should do the same for your area. Go to the websites, see the local pros, see what the local pros do, go to the bait shop, ask around. Do you know something as a professional in this area? You at the bait shop, you talk to all the people. Who's the best bass fisherman in the area? The best catfish, the best carp, whatever you want to catch, and try to get in contact or at least get materials. It may be a book, it may be a website or anything, so you can learn more about how to fish better in your area. Because when you learn to fish better in your area, you can fish more effectively and therefore with less time, and then you can reach the motherland where you can go out, you can use your hour of time effectively and go to the area, hopefully by boat. If you can't go by boat, you go by land and catch the fish, have fun, enjoy yourself, relax, and then go back to work, do your job, and be happy instead of sulking because I can't go fishing today. Take that action. There are so many actions to take, but let's take one at a time. Research, learn, practice, then take action. Catch the fish, then back to work. It's easy. So, that's all I have to say on that. And if you are in the Boston area and you're looking for somebody to teach you something, I don't currently have a service, but Greg Miner of Charles River Outdoor Company does. I'm not sure of his schedule, but you can go to his website and contact him and see how he can help you get on the river and learn more about how to fish the Charles River, lower and upper basin.